Hi everybody, it's Allan from the Lavington Library and welcome to our first session of Code Club. Normally I would be running this at the library as a program that you could come along to, but not this year. So we've decided to put it online for you. With today's session, I'm going to introduce you to Scratch coding, and this is all done online. So you will need a computer that can go online, have a connection to the internet, and be able to run Scratch 3.0, which most of you should have. Today's module that we're doing is an introduction. So we'll start off with the basics of how to put a background, introduce a couple of sprites, and actually get them to do slight animations and add some sound. So first off, you need to have the internet open. I've got Chrome here. I'm just going to open up a tab. I'm just going to search for Scratch. And this is the quickest and easiest way to find Scratch. It should be on top of your list, and it will be scratch.mit.edu. So once I click onto this takes us to the Scratch site. Now from here, if you want to work online, you will have to join Scratch. And to do that, you would have to put in a username. As it says here, you don't have to use your real name. A password, your password again just to confirm it, and then you'll be able to go to next, where it will ask you to put in a email address so they can contact you and verify your account. Once you've done that, you'll be able to log in. I'm just going to log in here. And put in my password. And this takes you into the logged in version of Scratch, where you are able to have a look at your account settings, stuff that you've previously done, and you can add a picture to your profile and such. Won't worry about any of that today. What we're going to do is we're going to create with our first project. And here it comes. We are now in the main screen of Scratch, and it's broken up into several areas. On the side here, you will see some quick steps to some of our coding blocks by clicking on these, and they're color coded. So you'll notice as we go through, these codes and blocks will make it easier for us to find and click by going straight to them. But we always start off in an event. But once we're into this area, we can see all our coding blocks down the side. We can just scroll through the whole lot if you want, but it's quicker to use the shortcuts on the side. This area in the middle is where we actually drag our coding blocks into, and it's the main work area. This part just here is where our results will go. This will be our project in a small version. And this is another area where we can manipulate and show our sprites and things like that. But we'll look at all of these as we go through. Right. So this one, I'm going to give it a name. Right, to do that, we just pop up the top here. I'm going to call this one Rock Band because that's our first project. For me, I've done this a couple of times, so I'm going to call it Rock Band B. You can name it just whatever you like. Okay, we have 3 tabs across here. We've got our code tabs, costumes, which we'll look at today. As you can see, we've got our cat in the middle. He has 2 costumes, and you can see how they would work together to make it look like he's walking across the screen. And we have our sounds. So I'll go back to our code. And today being Rock Band, we will not need our icon in the middle. So I'm going to delete him by simply pressing the X in this top screen. There he goes. We have a white screen with nothing on it. I am going to put a backdrop on there. Now, to add a backdrop, all I need to do is go down to the bottom here, choose a backdrop. Now I can import one. I can do a surprise, and that will just put something there for me. I can paint my own. I can choose a backdrop from the ones they've got in their library here. Now, these are all in alphabetical order. So I was looking for a stage or a theatre. I'm just going to scroll down and look for something suitable. There's one. Let's click on that. There's a theatre. That's our backdrop. Now we just need to add some sprites to this. So first off, I'm going to add a sprite. I'm going to go down to the bottom here. I'm going to choose a sprite. You can click it from here as well. And here is all our sprites that we can add to our stage. I'm going to scroll down until I find drums. There we go. We have a drum kit. Now I've added that sprite, and you can see our sprite is here now. Our stage is there. Our sprite drum kit is here. I'm going to move the drums, and I can pick that up using the left mouse button and drag it to where I want it on my stage. And I'm going to put it down. Right, so we've added a sprite. We've placed our sprite on our stage. And now we're going to, well, before we do anything else, we've renamed, but I'm going to save. I'm going to save my copy right now. And I'll do this periodically as we're going through, just to make sure I don't lose anything. Right, so we've got our drum kit. We need it to do something. It's not doing much at the moment. It's just sitting in the middle of a stage. What we need to do is add a sound to our drum kit. Now, because this is music, we have what's called extensions. These extensions sit at the bottom on this bottom side here. We are going to click on that, and look, we've got a music extension. I am going to click on that extension, and what that does is it adds another block of code, this time in green, and it places it at the bottom of our list of operators here. So we've got music. If I scroll up, you can still see all my normal code blocks are still here. Right. With that music, I can now start adding some code. So what I'm going to do is, when this sprite is clicked, which means if I click the sprite here, it's going to do something. So this is our first bit of code. Now I want it to play some music. So I'm going to click on my music tab. I am going to play the snare drum for 2.5 seconds. Now what will happen is, if I click on the snare drum if I click on my drum right now, it will make this sound. Right, so we've got it to do something. Let's change some values in our code here. See how there's a little drop down box here? I can grab that and I can make it a bass drum, a side stick, cymbal. We have a whole heap of already preset sounds that we can use. Let's go for the cowbell. I might go back up to, oh, I like the bass drum. There we go. All right, so the bit of code here is, go back to the snare. When this sprite is clicked, play the drum, the snare drum for that long, which is not long. We can actually go in there and change that to 2.50 beats. Let's see what it does now. Slightly longer, not much different. Okay, now next is, it's a bit boring just clicking on it and not doing anything. Let's add an action to that. Let's put a small animation to that. And to do that, we actually have to change costumes. Now if I click on my costume here, you'll see I've got 2 costumes ready to go. And just watch the difference between these 2. It's like the drumsticks are going up and down. It's added like a little bit of motion to it. So it's called drum A and drum B. Now I can change what they're called to make them a little bit more pertinent to what's happening. So I'm going to go in and change the name from drum B to drumming, and change drum A to drum silent. Then I know what they are when I'm trying to do my coding. Okay, so I will go to here, back to our coding screen, and I am now going to go to our looks area. I am going to add some code to switch the costume, but I want it to happen before this plays. So let's switch our costume. I'm going to put it here to drumming, and then I am going to put in our sound. So this runs in order, and then I'm going to switch the costume back to drum silent. Now watch what happens when we hit our sprite. You should notice that this will click, switch the costume to drumming, and then put it back to its original costume. So we've added a little bit of animation to that drum. There we go. All right, so that is a little bit of code for that drum already done, ready to go. Let's now, I just moved it over a bit. Let's now add another sprite. This one, it's going to be people, and I'm going to add a singer. There we go. There's our singer. Let's put her down onto the stage. Ready to go. Now, as you notice here, now there's 2 sprites. There's our drum with a bit of code ready to go. And there's my singer. She's got no code yet, so we're going to add some code to her as well. Now, let's do costumes. There's no second costume, but this is where we can duplicate our original costume by right-clicking over the top of that sprite on the side and hit duplicate. Now I've got 2. I've got singer 1, singer 2, and I'm going to change singer 2 to singing, and I'm going to change singer 1 to silent, same as what we did with the drums. Now we can add some code, but first I need to add some sound to what she's doing. Now, we always start off with the event because we need either the flag or a key or a sprite. So we're going to add when this sprite is clicked again. Now we're going to go to our looks, and now we're going to switch costume to singing. Now we need a sound. Now remember, the music in that was for just instruments, so we need a sound for our singer. So let's do sounds from here. Right, now we can hit this play sound, and if you pop this, I don't want pop, and there's no other choices. There's pop, or I can record. I can actually record my own singing, but I wouldn't do that too, and then add that to her. But this time I'm going to go into our sounds program here. So I'll just leave that as pop. Go to sounds, and at the bottom of the sound, because we've only got the one sound there, pop, I'm going to add another sound. So I'm going to go to choose a sound. I'm going to go to voice. There is lots of different sounds. This is where it can be real fun. I'm going to go to voice, and to see what, to test these sounds, all you need to do is hold your cursor over the top of the little play area. Now, I'll go to Singer 2 and see what that sounds like. Okay, we'll add Singer 2. And you get a little sonograph of what the sound is like. And you can change those, but not today. We'll look at that a bit later on. So we've got Singer 2 as our sound. Now, if I go back to code, what that does is, here, when I go to select, I've now got Singer 2 in my list, and I can select that. Now, remember the drum? We had to, when the sprite was clicked, switch costume to singing, play a sound, and now we want to switch our costume back. So we go back to there, and we'll put Singer silent. Right, that bit of code is done. So now, we haven't got any changes in our costume. See how we got Singer silent and singing? There's no difference. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of animation myself, and I can draw that in using these commands here. So first off, all I'm going to do is pick the line tool, and I'm going to just add a little bit of some lines here to make it look like she's belting out a song. That's enough. And you can see the results on the screen there. All right. Now that I've made that change, I'll go back to my code and let's test that. Yep, everything's working as it should. You should test. Whenever you put some code in, test, because sometimes what happens is, it might be in the wrong order. I might have done this. I might have put that one there and put that there and done the wrong thing. And now look what happens when I hit my sprite. It's back to front. So let's take that back and see how these bits of code link into each other. Oh, and I've done that wrong. Let's go to drumming, pop that in there, and it kind of puts together like a Lego set. Now we're right. It's ready to go and it's doing what it should. Now you can tell which sprite you're working on with your code areas, because up the top here, if I was working on the singer, you see it's got the singer sprite in the corner, and when I'm working on the drums, it's got the drum side icon there. Okay, there's two members of a rock band. We've got our drum and singer. Now let's add another one. So we go down to the bottom. We're going to choose a sprite. I'm going to select music again, and we can add all types of things. Let's add the trumpet. Ooh, that trumpet's a little big, but I can make it smaller. See here, there is a size. I'm going to push it down a little bit. Instead of 100, I'm going to make it a 50. And that will make the trumpet a lot smaller. I might even get somebody to play that trumpet. So I'm going to move the drums here, put the trumpet there, and now I'm going to add some code to the trumpet. So we always start with the event, move that code into the middle, and now we need to check our costumes. Wow, we've got two trumpets here. Trumpet silent and trumpet blasting. Just gives us an indication of which bit of code I'm going to use. So I go back to code. We are now going to go to looks again. We're going to switch costume to trumpet blasting. Okay, we want this to play a sound, of course. So let's pick a sound. And see how it's already preset for our trumpet. Now if I click on this one, I've got lots of trumpet sounds and they're in chords. So I've got C2 trumpet, and that's the sound. Now I can grab this and duplicate. Alright, and I can duplicate that one. And now I've got 3 play sounds. Now you duplicate by right clicking on it. Now I'm just left dragging it into the area. And what this allows me to do is now I can go C2 trumpet. I can click on this one and make it C trumpet. I can click on this one and make it D trumpet. And now when I click on it, it's going to, let's do our costume part to finish it off. And switch costume to silent. And now our bit of code says this trumpet is going to play 3 notes. Hey? If you know your music, you could actually get it to play a tune, which would be awesome. Okay, so now we've added our trumpet, and we'll test it on the main screen here. We'll just go, there's our yep, all working as it should. Okay, let's now add another sprite, a person who looks like they're playing the trumpet. So I'm going to go back to my choose a sprite, and let's look at people who looks like they're playing a trumpet. Devon there, he looks like he could be playing a trumpet. Ooh, he's a bit big though. Let's change his size again. I might make him 50% as well. Or too small. 70%. It's a little bit trial and error. Yeah, that looks better. So I'm going to put him there. Put my trumpet there. Now it looks like we've got Devon there playing the trumpet. Okay, now we've finished our project. Our rock band is done. Hope you enjoyed putting sounds and animation to some sprites. And make sure before we leave, we go back up to the top and save now. That will be saved into our profile. And hopefully you can join me for the next session, which is called Lost in Space, where we actually can animate our sprites to move across the screen. That should be an exciting one. Until then, we'll see you. Bye for now.